So when you start a new project and don't want to make a prototype, you can choose to make different kinds of phone application. Now you can choose. I can show you how they look like. A regular Windows Phone application will let you have a starting page, just a regular page. It looks like this. It doesn't mean that you only have one page. You can add several pages. You can add panoramas to it. But the starting page will look like this. It just have one page. You can change the application and the name. If you know you want to make another kind, like a panorama application, it will give you a panorama by default. And you can change the horrible default background with something more nice. But you'll have something to start from. So you can just delete the content and add your own content. And other projects, I skipped the data bound. The data bound is just a single page with some pre-filled text. That is just a list with text. You can see another one, the pivots. Will give you a pivot page by default, where you can change stuff in. So here. And if a control library is not really application, but like the component screen. It's a component that you want to be reused in different apps. So I think for your applications, maybe this one and panorama and pivot might be more interesting. I can show you the emulator. If I, for example, choose to make a panorama app, I can choose device panel. Here I can also tilt it if I want to see how it looks like in horizontal view. I can also preview my app, how it looks like in different themes. Oh yeah, we didn't show you, but the user have two kinds of settings to personalize their phone. One was the accent colors, and another is the actual theme. Now, the dark theme will have black background, and the light theme will have a white background. So if I choose settings and choose the light theme, everything will be white instead. So the user can choose the background color and the actual accent color. So you can preview how your app will look if the user switches those things. So for example, white hue will make the text black, and you can also see how it looks like with different themes if you have used the accent color for something in your app. And this is a very good thing to try to see how it looks in different themes, because sometimes if you use white theme, if you use white text, and then the user switch to white theme, the text might not show. And those are an easy thing, a very common thing to get how do you say, to get prevented from publishing your app to marketplace. I heard a lot of people that have forgotten to set a specific color on the text to make sure that it looks okay in different themes and stuff like that. To change the text color depending on the themes and have it not been able to be published on the marketplace. It's an easy fix, but you can easily prevent that mistake by trying out to switch between these themes. And here you can also choose what you want to preview on. If you have a Windows Phone device, you can connect it to the computer, and when you press F5, you can see your app running on the actual device. If you don't have a device connected, you can choose to preview this app on the phone emulator. So if I have this selection on and press F5, you'll see that here at the bottom, it starts building, and it'll load the emulator. At the first time when you connect to the device, it will take a little while, but you don't have to close down the device. You can make changes and then press F5 again. It will immediately update the emulator. So the first run always takes a bit of time because it has to initialize it and stuff like that. So soon you'll see this panorama on the emulator.
Can you choose any different Windows Phone uses the emulator of different manufacturers and vendors, or is it just the one mock-up?
This is just one mock-up.
And they're all the same, remember?
Yeah.
So they all have the same speed ratio, the same resolution, etc. And they all have the same buttons below. So
Of course.
the
physical difference might be that one has a better camera, but that's sort of hard to test with an emulator that you have nicer pictures or something.
Yeah.
So this is how it looks like. I can pan around, I can scroll, stuff like that. And what's cool is also I can tilt it, of course. In order to make your app react when people tilt it, you have to enable it in your application. Maybe you don't want it to just randomly align stuff. Maybe it doesn't look good if people tilt it and auto align. So that's something you have to enable. Otherwise, it will just show up like this. People tilt it. Another interesting thing is the following. Not only can you emulate the actual user input, you can also emulate the accelerometer. So if I had an app that will react to how the accelerometer, I can emulate that using this tool. I can also emulate where I am. So if you have a location-sensitive app, I can set my current location to the US even though I'm in Sweden. So you can see how a US user will see in your app. For example, if you want to try to see if your app actually reacts to the nearby area, you don't have to actually run around with your computer. You can just change it here. And a new thing, which is sort of cool, is you can capture screenshot from an emulator, which was not possible before actually. So these are interesting things that you can do. So you can pretty much test anything on your app with the emulator, although it's recommended to test on a real device before submitting to Marketplace, of course, to see the performance. Yep, so that's the emulator. I can also mention that one cool thing about all those things, the behaviors, the states for SketchFlow, everything applies for a real app. When you program a real app, you actually make states to show updates on the screen. And when you want to make some animations, well, you don't make the animations that I did. You make storyboards, but it's pretty much the same thing. I can show you if there's it's something you want to do one by one. It's easier to get a grasp on that if you get to do it yourself. But it's pretty much the same thing. I can show you a demo of how important animations can be. For example, here's an app showing a to-do list. Open this in Blend. Now this one is when it didn't have any animation. I'll press F5 to run it in the emulator. So let's say I add some tasks. Talk. Oh, one tip. If you don't want to type by clicking on the emulator, you can press page up, and then you can use the keyboard, which might go faster. Click Add. Use the back button. Here's my to-do list. Now, this to-do list, I can see the awesomeness of October 3rd to-dos. If I haven't completed my task, I'll get this screen. That's not so awesome because I haven't completed stuff. If I completed it, I'll get a nicer screen. But it was sort of you didn't get a cool feelings. Maybe the graphics are cool and stuff, but there were no animations. If I want to emphasize this feeling, I can add animation to make the experience more interesting. So I'll show you the example with animations, and we'll see a difference. So spending time on making the animations flow really pays off at the end when it comes to the experience. I'll press F5 to build this project. It's the same app, only with animations added. Here, I'll add some another task, metro, back. Now, when I want to see my awesomeness status, now when I haven't done anything, I'll get that one hitting down, the fire goes away, stuff like that. I can replay it. It makes a difference. It actually makes it more alive, I think. And same thing if I have completed all my tasks, I'll see my awesomeness, things lighting up and things slamming into my face. So animations can really add to convey a message. So spend some time on adding animations to your app so it's not just static screens. Let's see. I think that's pretty much it. I think we have enough to get started. Here we have some wireframes or whatever you want to call it. If you want to start off on paper, it's almost real life size, it's a little bit smaller. And after that, if you want to try SketchFlow, we can hook you up with the developer tools. Robert will help you install those. And then if you want to have any specific questions or want me to show in specific scenarios, I'll be happy to do that.
So the basic assignment now is to take your own project, your own thinking. That could be something you have been thinking about before.